I've got that radiant glow, that sweet, glorious blue. And radiant
Slightly to the south, you might see the tail of a plane poking out through a rusted, ringed cage. A wall of scrap metal, gnarled, stretching upwards and curling in on itself. What is this well-protected area, you might think? And what inside is a time bomb waiting to explode? Hello there, and welcome to the Green Vault Podcast, a lore-based podcast delving into the world of Fallout and its locations, be they eerily spooky, weirdly funny, quirkily strange, or wonderfully benign. So join me, your host Red, as we take a look at a location from Fallout and discuss every aspect from architecture, quests, loot, sound, and game design. So welcome, dear listener. Let's delve into today's location. Today we are near the centre of the Fallout 3 map as the Lone Wanderer, a hotspot and a frequented area by the name of Megaton. Or Megaton, depending on your pronunciation, I suppose. Megaton is a location with a fate you can play a major part in. The blasted stone surrounds a rusted, walled location, oval shape in nature. As you approach, you might see some dead giant bugs on the ground already outside the entrance. A Protectron robot stands guard outside, greeting potential travellers. A jet engine hangs dangerously above the gate. The way is barred by the tips of the wings from an aeroplane, hanging down angled to block the gate. Arriving, the jet engine flares dangerously into life, and the wing blades slide upwards to allow entry. But you know, health and safety doesn't really exist here, so it's perfectly fine, don't worry about it. A guard stands above the entrance on a perch, overwatching all who enter and also a secondary defense line. A desperate soul is often found sitting on the ground nearby, begging for purified water. You'll sometimes find travelling merchants parked outside the entrance as well, available for you to trade with. The Protectron is named Deputy Weld. He simply welcomes you to Megaton, partner, if you talk to him. Occasionally he'll spout advertisements for the local shops in Megaton. An airlock system sees you standing inside an enclosed area filled with rubbish and dirt piles. The gate loads you inside to Megaton proper, so it's an internal cell from the open world. Lucas Sims greets you as you enter. He actually remarks upon seeing your Vault 101 jumpsuit if you're wearing it, stating he hasn't seen one of those in a long time. This is my first time actually hearing this line, as I've always changed clothes by this point before. It's a nice little extra touch. Lucas is the mayor and sheriff of Megaton and warns you to not cause trouble. Megaton is built around a crater, a hole presumably created by a large nuclear bomb that didn't explode on impact, which is found at the centre of the town down below. Ringed around the layers leading down are buildings and walkways, all rusted metal plates filled with holes and of pretty poor construction all around. Again, a health and safety inspector would explode just glancing at this place. Many buildings are suspended in the air on worryingly fragile looking metal scaffolding. Pipes crisscross throughout the area. Some seem to supply water as there are several leaks around the town. Many pipes seem to come out of the ground horizontally but are broken as well, implying I think that the crater has revealed the pre-war piping that no doubt supplied a large city that was formerly in this potential area. You can also see various bits of a plane continuing to be used inside. The tail you saw from outside rests atop a building. The nose cone is perched atop another with supply in 3D letters on poles atop it. Another jet engine is suspended halfway down on the opposite side to the entrance being on the north side. It's spinning freely, I think implying it might be for power generation, but I'm not sure. Nicely, you can go inside every building that's in this town. Starting at the upper half of Megaton and going clockwise, we first have an empty home. This is a player home you can gain access to through quests. A small but quaint double-story number that comes with its own Mr. Handy, Wadsworth. Which, thinking about it now, his name's Wadsworth and you have Codsworth in Fallout 4, I wonder if that's a callback to that name. The place is fully furnished and has a bobblehead stand for you to store your acquired bobbleheads on. The door is locked and requires a key, so you can't get inside without doing the required quest to gain entry. I cheated my way inside, and Wadsworth is standing there at the door, or well, floating, but you can't talk to him. Clearly he's not triggered until you gain access to the place as your home. If you do acquire the home, Wadsworth can provide up to 5 bottles of purified water a week for free. He can also tell some jokes. My personal favourite is, "I was going to attend the clairvoyance meeting, but it was cancelled due to unforeseen events." He's also got some fun sarcastic lines that he'll mutter to himself, and he can also advise you on how to upgrade your home, because yes, the home can get some improvements, both with visual themes and by buying stations for your house. These are my first jukebox, which just plays music, my first infirmary, which you can heal yourself at, my first laboratory can craft meds, my first workbench, which you can craft weapons at, and a pristine vending machine, which turns Nuka-Cola into ice-cold Nuka-Cola, which has a better HP recovery. I think there's also a note about it, but it doesn't actually increase the price of it, however, so you can't use this to make some more money. The themes are a raunchy love machine theme, a creatives scientist theme, a homesick vault theme, a grotesque raider theme, a shabby explorer theme, and a nostalgic pre-war theme. But now, heading back outside and going around to the next place, this one is Jericho's house. Jericho is an older man and former raider. Leaving the raider's life behind, he settled into Megaton and helps defend it. A crack shot and has an eye for Nova, another resident. He can also become a companion if you have evil karma and pay some caps. His house is a small square building and a stone's throw from your potential, home, as it were. It's locked with an average lock. Inside is an open plan concept, you might say charitably. Rubbish is strewn around with a shopping trolley, empty cans and tyres on the floor. A teddy bear is next to a cabinet on the ground, pinned to the floor by a Chinese officer's sword, a melee weapon you can pinch. Under his bed is another teddy bear lying next to an empty whiskey bottle. Rather strange indeed, I will say. But now, heading back out and down a ramp is Lucy West's house. Lucy moved from Erifu to set up here in Megaton. Her brother is Ian West and is involved in a quest that she gives you. Her home is a 2-story building, rectangular in shape, with 2 single beds upstairs, but she does live alone. Strangely, I noticed no furniture pieces that can be looted, like metal boxes, lockers and such, are all empty, like she hasn't got much in the way of property. But now back up the ramp and along is the women's restroom. A few stalls, a bathtub and some lockers are inside. One toilet is busted in the corner, a gold-posted red rope barrier blocks it off, and a warning biohazard sign is above it. In the bathtub is a plastic fork, large metal knife, the type that can be wielded as a melee weapon, and a carton of a Salisbury steak, which makes it seem like someone was very much in a mood here at some point. But next up is a much more uniquely designed building. It's a blue bus, but the back end of another blue bus is attached on one side in the middle, so imagine a very short and stumpy capital T. This is Nathan and Manya's house, an elderly couple living in Megaton. The inside reflects the outside. This stumpy addition helps accommodate the generously wide double bed. A note is on the table. This note is one you can find in a few places. A call for help from Harkness, who is an escaped android and wants facial reconstruction surgery and a memory wipe to escape his enslavers. Manya is actually part of the railroad and helped the android, now known as Harkness, to escape. Up next is the Common House. This is the first on the back wall type area of Megaton, a row of buildings that face opposite the entrance. The Common House is a 3-story building. The ground floor contains rows of bunk beds. Above is a balconied eating area along with a single private room off to one side. The top floor is mostly for furniture storage. The Common House is the place where the generic Megaton settlers sleep at night. These are citizens without much dialogue and just add to the population of the town, which is a good thing. It helps keep it feel more alive. The Common House is the only building with its back wall actually forming part of the defense barrier of Megaton, potentially making it a vulnerability for a group trying to sneak their way in for a raid. There is an inaccessible crow's nest at the back wall here to cover the area, however. It seems to be unmanned though, unlike the entrance gate lookout point, which also seems inaccessible by the way. No ladder or anything to climb up to for the guards. I know they wouldn't want the player to be able to reach there though, mostly due to the fact that Megaton is an interior cell, so the Wasteland isn't loaded out there. They could have put a ladder because there is no ladder climbing mechanic, but it seems like it's perhaps a missed detail or perhaps it's made for optimization purposes. There are 2 more crow's nests. The gate itself is at the north side of town. The east, south and west all have these singular unoccupied crow's nests. The common house is the only upper floor building that's fully supported by the ground, by the way. The rest are worryingly and mostly or fully supported by the aforementioned metal scaffolding that is laced with piping. Now on the scaffolding area of the south wall is another home, Billy Creel's house. Billy and Maggie, a 12-year-old girl, live here. Billy is an amicable chap that kindly adopted Maggie when her parents were killed by raiders some years ago. He distinguishably wears an eye patch. Rumours suggest he intentionally shot the previous house's owners during a raid so he could gain the house. This also implies that you need to do something special or probably have enough caps to gain a house in Megaton, as space is a premium. It seems to be rather limited, so I can imagine a house in a relatively safe town would be very desirable. He also comments on your Vault 101 jumpsuit as well if you're wearing it. You can overhear Maggie talking to Billy, asking if she can have the talk Billy has mentioned. Billy awkwardly tries, but then tells Maggie mayhaps he should go talk to Moira, a female resident, about it. It's quite awkward, but adorable. There are 2 holotapes to be found inside. The first is Song of the Light Man, and it reads, "Tweedle dumpling, tweedle dare. Curse the younglings if you care, for theirs is youth and joy and power, 5 made one in the Light Man's tower, and when they come, these 5 of sun, the Light Man's progeny have won. So sound the trumpets clear and loud, and think beyond the eastern shroud." The second one is a bit more of a story. This is called The Guardians of Gillifrond. "Whatever shall we do, Mr. Willingsworth?" Molly asked. "Mother will be home shortly, and I've yet to clean my room." "Heavens my, heavens me, don't fret, Molly Golly. We'll enlist a little help, that's all." Mr. Willingsworth then waddled his little teddy bear body into the centre of the room, and called out in a voice both sweet and strong to those lying dormant on the shelves in the toy box under the bed. "Come now, you lot, Molly Golly needs our help, and as we're her guardians, that means we all get cracking. Come on now, shake off those dust bunnies and hop too." There then rose a rustle and rumble from all corners of the room, as rocking horse and railway car, bookend and baby doll, toy and game alike all blossomed into impossible life. "Mr. Willingsworth, but I never knew. I thought it was just you. Oh, this is just wonderful," Molly exclaimed. "Wonderful? Bah! I was having a nice nap and a nice dream, and now you've gone and woken me up. And for what? Manual labour. That wasn't in the job description, Willingsworth." This small, squeaky voice of dissent belonged to Mousie Maguire, Molly's favourite stuffed animal, and one of the few companions granted the right to sleep on her bed. "Oh, Mousie, you're alive!" Molly ran to her bed and embraced the nonplussed plushie, squishing his body in a nearly bursting bear hug. All right, enough, you're crushing me." Molly released her hold and dropped Mousie back on the bed, feeling at once excited and immensely disappointed that her favourite stuffed toy had just come to life and seemed to be a complete cretin. "Now you listen here, Maguire," Willingsworth said. "Being guardians of dear Miss Mollygolly means we protect her in any way we can, even if that means unclogging the potty or taking out the trash, or, yes, tidying up her room. And when the crawly creeps come out, oh, and they will come, you'll get to do what is in your job description, you mark my words." A slightly sinister ending to the story there, perhaps, but, not too bad. But I also feel like there is a bit of a story faux pas in the fact that they describe Mousie Maguire's voice after it's been spoken. Thus, the adult reading the bedtime story might have made a mistake there. And by that I mean they may have put on a voice for the character, then have the description later rather than first, meaning their voice that they put on and the actual description might not have matched even closely. But I digress. There is also a locked safe in this house, hidden under a red cone. With the Child at Heart perk, you can convince Maggie to give you the combination to unlock it. The safe has some generic stuff, some caps and a generic scoped 44 Magnum, and that's it for Billy's house. So next door is one of the biggest buildings, Moriarty's Saloon. Occupied by Gob, a downtrodden ghoul bartender, Nova an escort, and the proprietor Colin Moriarty himself. A 2-story building, bar and seating occupy the ground floor along with Moriarty's office. The first floor has several rooms for guests. You need to talk to Nova to rent a room, but you need to pay for both the bed and her company, which costs 120 caps total. As Fallout 3 has no hardcore difficulty setting, sleeping isn't as important, so that's probably why you can wait around anywhere too, by the way. All 3 occupants can give you information on your main mission of finding your lost father. Moriarty will want caps or for you to do a job for him. The other 2 will let you know to crack Moriarty's terminal for the information. You can find out that Moriarty is a pretty hateable character, treating his workers like absolute rubbish. Gob is a nice guy and happy you aren't spitting at him like most others do. As Gob is your first ghoul you'll potentially encounter, he explains to you what a ghoul is. Everyone in Megaton very much has a tutorial vibe to them. Lucy West can often be found in the saloon along with other residents including Mr. Burke, a sinister individual that offers you a job of an explosive nature, but more on that in the quests section. I do quite like the aesthetic of the saloon. The balcony above rings around the bar and a fan spins above the door. Light streams in through the spinning fan, creating a nice little effect. It's very Western inspired, I'd say. There are small hints here and there of what definitely gets expanded on in Fallout New Vegas. You can get some information, though it's rather twisted in the way that Moriarty looks at some of the residents. This can be found on his private terminal. It has a motivational phrase of the month. When the chips are down, it means the Brahmin is empty. This is at the top. I don't actually really know what that means, but fine. The first category is residents. Jericho is first. Jericho's been a bad boy. I heard all about him and Jenny Stull. Tried to slip her some of the old gun barrel while she's yelling no. He's lucky the gun didn't go off, or that would have given the Stall clan something to crap their pants about. He thinks he's king of the hill, walking around Megaton like he does, all high and mighty. He tries to pull that shit with me and Jenny, the incident goes public. Leo Stoll's entry is next. Never trust a junkie. That's what I've learned trying to deal with this piece of work. He wanders in here higher than a bird in flight and tries to make it with Nova. She slapped him silly after he didn't want to pay, the good girl. I almost kicked him out myself, but he staggered out of here. That guy may just be the straw I need to break Andy's back. Andy Stahl. This guy is a real piece of work. Opening a fucking bar in my town? What a jackass. I swear he's up to something. I'm going to have to think of a way to reduce his business a little. For now, at least, I still got my secret weapon, Nova. Best refreshment in town. Billy Creel. That Nuka-Cola swilling prick, parading his little daughter Maggie around for all to see like a proud father. Yeah, right. Found her wandering the wasteland my left arse cheek. I bet old Billy fed Maggie's parents that buckshot sandwich himself, then added the little girl to his trophy collection in that shithole he calls a home. I better keep an eye on him. And finally, Doc Church. Church thinks he's such a freaking badass. Everybody runs to him if they get a damn wood splinter, and he just laps up their caps like a drunk downing alcohol. If people knew he used to be a medic for slavers at Paradise Falls, they'd run his ass right out of town. But I think I'll keep that little nugget tucked away for later use. So all these entries already really let you know what kind of scumbag Moriarty is. Believing the worst in absolutely everyone, but keeping any potential truths he has to himself for later use. Real scumbag material. I will say on the subject of Jericho, from what I can tell that seems to be a made-up story. Manya particularly points out that men can change when talking about Jericho, so it seems like he's mayhaps not a great guy, but potentially not that bad. Well, at least not disgusting enough to do something like that. It does seem that Doc Church was a medic for the slavers at Paradise Falls, but you have no idea of the context. He could have been captured himself, or perhaps doing his Hippocratic oath regardless of where people were, trying to ensure that even if they were captured slaves, that they were tended to and what have you, and survived at the very least. It's hard to tell, there's not a huge amount of information, but moving on to the next terminal category, this is visitors. There's just 2 entries. The first is Mr. Burke. This guy is a Class A weirdo. One day I'm wiping down the bar and the fucker comes from out of nowhere. I didn't even hear the door open. He tells me he's here to wait for some sort of opportunist to come through. Whatever. As long as he pays for his drinks, he can stay here until that damn bomb explodes in the centre of town for all I care. A good little bit of tongue-in-cheek irony there for Mr. Burke, if you know about his quest, which I'll go over later. The second entry is for James brackets Vault 101. So, out of nowhere, James came back to Megaton. Since he stayed here before, he asked me where the hell he could get a lay of the land and find out what's going on in the world. I told him about Galaxy News Radio in the ruins of DC, and that guy 3Dog. Then like that, he was gone. I remember the first time he showed up almost 20 years ago. I never expected someone to actually want to be able to get into a vault, but he must have had his reasons. He had his kid with him, some baby that wouldn't shut the fuck up. Normally I would have kicked someone like that out of my place, but he had a way with words. Then, like that, he ducks into Vault 101 and he's gone for almost 20 years. Nice guy, I guess, but never spends enough caps. His last category is tabs. These are the caps owed by residents. Jericho owes 32 caps, Deadbeat Bastard in brackets, Doc Church owes 14 caps, Nathan 8 caps, and Stockholm 8 caps. A very sinister guy, Colin, seeing the worst in everyone around him. I imagine it's the justification he needs to be a bastard himself. If everyone else is, then it's fine for him to do it as well. People like him often have that idea that everyone has ulterior motives as well. No one's nice just because they want to be nice, there's a reason to it. So his archetype will always assume other people are trying to pull one over. But outside again and around a walkway you can get to the men's restroom. I do like the use of the shell of another blue bus, presumably left over from the bits from that other one, utilised as part of the bridge leading to here. Nothing special about the men's restroom, some urinals, toilets, a bath, tub and sinks. Pretty standard. Well, the bathtub isn't fully standard, but I think this is meant to be more than just a restroom, it's meant to be a full bathroom. Below the blue bus bridge is the armory. This is locked with a very hard lock. The structure itself looks like the top half of a plane's fuselage. Inside is a hostile Mr. Gutsy called Deputy Steele. Guns and ammo fill the room, a good place to break into if you can survive the Mr. Gutsy. A hardlock terminal can be used to disable both deputy robots, and an average lock safe has more loot. Heading down further around the top area is the crate side supply. This is the place with the nose end of a plane atop it. Inside is another double-story affair. The top area is a living area, not too badly furnished either. The ground floor, the floor you enter on, is the shop floor, both in a workshop sense and a place where you can barter with Moira Brown, the owner. A workbench is also here, free for you to use and craft at. Moira's a fun character that wants a test subject to help her out. Very chipper with an excitable personality. I like Moira. She's writing a book, Wasteland Survival Guide, and enlists your help to test some things out. She's smart but inexperienced. We'll go over more of her quest stuff in the quest section. And of course she trades as a merchant too, a useful trader early game. She has a terminal in here too, locked with an average lock. There are 3 categories. Store inventory simply states that data is corrupted, use hard copy backups. The next is track current experiments. These get filled in as you progress through the quest she gives you. She has a nice tagline for herself as a header. It's a lovely day for science. What shall we test today, Moira? Next are notes for each question she has. Do Brahmin heads learn independently? More study of Brahmin language required. Can explosives be used to expand the town? Lucas Sims requests all testing cease. Can mole rats be domesticated? Yes, if defanged, declawed, and lobotomized. How to prevent raider attacks? Raiders refuse to sit for interviews. What do super mutants eat? Research assistants. What happened to China? Reports uncertain. China may be fictional. Can centaurs talk? Abundance of tongues suggests so. What is the purpose of being? To perform science. The last category is simply survival guide progress, stated as in progress until you finish the quest line, then it states file printed and distributed. Back outside is our second last stop above, the water treatment facility. This is a long room with pipes funneling in and out as well as heavy machinery, no doubt for the pumping of water. Out back is a small office and a bedroom for the only occupant, an older gentleman named Walter. Walter's getting on and worried about the future of the purification plant. He's the only one who knows how it works. During the night time, Leo Stoll comes to the plant to take chems when Walter is out drinking at Moriarty's saloon. The last building up here is Lucas Sims' house, the mayor and sheriff of Megaton. It's a tall structure owing to the tail end of a plane sitting atop it. Inside is a 2-story house that Lucas shares with his son, Harden Sims. Each has their own private room on the upper floor. It's all very neat and tidy. There's a hatch up here as well that leads to the roof, giving access to the plane tail on the roof. This is used as a platform. You can go up the stairs of the plane to the upper floor and look out over Megaton. It's a very overlooking my empire feel. Or perhaps more of my fun flavour, look at the peasants below me. But that's it for the upper area. Now let's head into the lower area. From the northern gate you can head down, flanked by 2 chunky pipes, one leaking water. The angle is steep as you walk down. Buildings ring the lower area and the unexploded bomb is at the centre, resting nose down in ankle-high water. Going clockwise again, we have a restaurant, the Brass Lantern. It's below the player's home. This has an eating area outside and several flickering neon signs. 2 are actually written in Chinese. I looked them up to see what they say. One apparently says home fast, which means absolutely nothing. The other above the entrance says bright, though it seems that there's some difference of opinions. The Independent Fallout Wiki, which I often use for references, states it's missing a letter and is supposed to say Ming fast food. I personally cannot find any corroborating evidence for this, however, but I guess I'll take their word for it, that mayhaps it's in a behind-the-scenes type thing. Jenny Stoll works outside the noodle bar during the daytime. Inside is a bar, a small room with an L-shaped counter and 2 tables. Leo Stoll works the bar. He also comments on your peculiar vault outfit. Andy Stoll, Leo's younger brother, apparently does comment on it too, but I couldn't actually get it to trigger. Leo raised his brother and sister when their parents died and they took over the restaurant from their father. Andy is, however, the proprietor, despite being the younger brother, often found at their terminal doing bookwork. The back area is laid out a little more uniquely. Through the office is a double-storied area with 1 bed below and 2 above. Jenny sleeps behind the stairs and the 2 lads sleep upstairs. You can access the Brass Lantern terminal Andy often sits at. A crumpled note with the password can be found, but it's a pain to get to as it's hard to reach. It's stuck really in the corner behind some poles and a chair is in front of it, often taking your trigger for, the interact option. The hack for the terminal is a very easy hack though. The terminal has 3 main entries and a 4th to unlock the safe in the room which contains 300 caps. Some entries change depending on your actions. The first we have are 2 versions of Notes on Leo. This entry appears standard with Leo Stoll being addicted to chems, which continues to stay if you get a negative outcome for his quest, where Leo starts to deal chems. That entry goes, I hate to even think that Leo is stealing from us, but he can't really seem to explain where the money is going. A cap or 2 is an honest mistake, but we're talking over 100 per month here. I can't really accuse him of stealing, but something's going on. And the oddest thing, Doc Church seems to know something about Leo, but won't tell me. This next entry replaces that one if you help Leo out and get a positive outcome in his quest. Ever since that stranger helped Leo out with his problem, his counts have been coming up clean. I can't believe that he managed to hide his habits from me all this time. I guess we've grown apart over these last few years. That's something I'll have to work on fixing. The next entry is Cash Notes. This entry appears standard with all 300 bottle caps in the floor safe. Leo's count came up short again this month, 124 caps this time. I'll have to keep an eye on him. He's either careless or a thief. This next entry appears if you pick the floor safe with the very hard lock on it and steal at least 1 of the bottle caps, leaving less than 300 caps. The first part is the same but has this added on to the end. And now the safe is coming up short too, but Leo couldn't use a computer to save his life. Could he? Last entry is Inventory Notes. This is always the same. We're coming up short on a few things again. I can't explain it. We have enough liquor in the still to supply us each month, but yet we keep running short. Note to self, keep an eye on Leo. Between this and his cash shortages, I'm starting to think that something is going on. Andy. It's a real nice touch for the journal entries to change. I can't really remember Fallout ever doing this that much elsewhere, even in Fallout 4 to be honest. But it's a real nice attention to detail and something you could easily miss, but you'd be happy to see it if you found it. Though if I have my Sinister hat on, this is also sort of the tutorial area, so perhaps they put a bit of extra work into this one, but didn't do it elsewhere. But moving on, around the lower area up next is Mr. Burke's house. This is below Lucy West's house, a tiny square building with a very hard lock. The same layout as Jericho's house, but much neater. A nice hat on the table and a suitcase by the desk. I'm not sure how Mr. Burke was able to get this house, as it seems housing is at a premium considering he's just like a visitor. They've done a real great job with the visual storytelling of this place, making it feel like Mr. Burke is on just a business trip, while all the other places feel lived in and more like there are people permanently here. This feels like he's just kind of waiting around for his business to be done so he can bugger off home. His business here, of course, being a very explodey type. But again, more on that later, for next up we have another building found under the armory, and the saloon is the Children of Atom. That's the name of the building, it just says the Children of Atom. Another rusted chunk of a square building, but it has a nice statue atop it. A scrap metal ball is ringed with circles to create the look of an atom, and behind it is a child's playground red rocket. At nighttime here and throughout Megaton, lights do come on, including glowing neon lights that light up the atom ball at the centre here. A walkway is used to get up to the entrance. Another blue bus section is used as part of one of the ramps. Having a proper look, it's very much copy and pasted actually. Inside the building is a bit different too. You enter on the middle floor. A balcony rings a lectern and seating below on the ground level where the Children of Atom congregate. The floor above is ringed with beds. An office is on the middle floor with a terminal belonging to Confessor Cromwell. Confessor being a title, I believe. Confessor Cromwell and Mother Maya are the only named occupants of the building and are husband and wife. Confessor Cromwell is usually inside here or outside preaching ankle deep in the irradiated water, praying to the unexploded bomb. They apparently treat Gob, the ghoul in the saloon, with respect, unlike most others. However, they are very cultish-coded people. The respect is most likely due to his ghoul nature being connected with radiation and the Children of Atom. Confessor Cromwell's terminal is locked with a very easy lock. I've noticed this throughout this place in Megaton. It's either everything is very easy or very hard. Either giving you that vibe of come back later for the very hard stuff, but the very easy stuff is there for you to investigate, or the very hard stuff is there to encourage you to look for alternatives. Inside the terminal there are 3 entries. First up is Atom's nucleus. People often innocently ask me, Confessor, why do you worship a bomb? Like curious children, they come to me with questions about the most visible and perhaps controversial aspect of our faith. The innocent among us hear my sermons before the great symbol. They see us bathe in the waters, and they wonder if it is a danger we seek, a suicide pact perhaps. And while you may be tempted to answer their curiosity with anger, my gentle Children of Atom, we must never do so. The core of Atom's philosophy teaches us peace. That we must educate the curious and work towards alleviating their ignorance, that we must teach them to accept the glory of the division of the past and to seek the glory of the division that is to come. Teach them, my children. Teach them how the miserable, rotten meat of their bodies will give birth to countless lives at the time of division. Teach them that they should not mourn the world that is past, but praise and celebrate those that have already been divided. Teach them the blessing, the glory, that the peace of our commune and the satisfaction that can be found in our blessed work. Teach them, my children. Teach them well, and in the teaching, find your peace and your place. This is the core of Atom's message to us. Spread, grow, communicate. Go in peace, my precious children. Walk in Atom's glow. Right, after that nonsense, you've got a second entry, which is Treatise on Atom's Second Coming. What is Atom? Atom is light, power. Atom is change. Atom is the cleansing that brings order to chaos. Atom is purity. Atom is peace. Atom is hope. Before I get on to the last entry, this is your friendly reminder that atomic radiation is none of these things, and that embracing atomic radiation will bring nothing but a horrible, miserable death. But yes, the last entry is bringing about the division. I often ask myself if the time is right for the second division. Here, in Atom's blessed village, are we truly ready for his coming? Have I properly prepared my people for the moment in which his great altar cracks open and reveals to us his glory? I am but a man. Who I am to bring these people to glory? Who am I to seek to cause the division? But yes, with that nonsense over and done with, let's move on, shall we? Lastly is the Megaton Clinic, another square single-story building. This one has a Brahmin standing outside. I do also like the design of the roof being used as part of the walkway to get above, though that must be so annoying to live inside something like that. Inside is a small area. Doc Church is the owner and doctor here in Megaton. He's very grumpy about anyone coming in here and asking for any form of help. I did decide to do a bit of experimenting. When you're pretty healthy, he's a real jerk about you wanting medical aid, which costs 100 caps each time. Getting low on health, he is at least shocked to see how injured you are. He still called me a big baby afterwards though. The first room is a reception area that leads to 2 doorways. One is a room with 3 beds for patients. 2 are currently occupied by generic settlers labelled as patient. The other door leads to a surgery, again a small affair but has a table and a gurney with a privacy screen. Lastly is the doctor's office. Another note linked to Android Harkness is here, calling for a discreet surgeon that can do plastic surgery as well as asking if the listener knows anyone good with electronics. The room has a terminal but it is broken unfortunately, so no information is gleaned from that one. A medical supply cabinet is also locked, requiring a key. It has a decent amount of medical supplies but requires you to kill the doctor as you can't pickpocket the key. But that is it for the clinic and Megaton in regards to the actual location itself. So now let's move on to quests. There's a decent chunk here which is very nice. First up is a side quest called Blood Ties. This is Lucy West, asking you to check on her family in Arafu. It takes place over there, you can simply just start it here with Lucy. Next up is an unmarked quest, Church Donations. You can simply make a caps donation to Confessor Cromwell and gain good karma in return. We then have the 5th main quest, Following in His Footsteps. Megaton is one of the first steps of the quest and it takes you elsewhere into the Wasteland. It's you trying to track down your Liam Neeson father, getting information on where he went next. You get that in the Moriarty's terminal, which I read. Or you can do this next quest for him, an unmarked quest called 300 Pieces of Silver. You need to get money owed to Moriarty from a woman called Silver. As stated, this is to obtain the information from Moriarty about your father if you can't or don't want to pay him 100 caps for the info. The next quest is a side quest called Holy Water. This takes place post-main story mission as it involves Aqua Pura, labelled Holy Water. Megaton plays a part in the investigation. Next is an unmarked quest called Leo's Drug Habit. This deals with Leo's jet addiction. You can convince him to quit or turn him into a chem dealer. This is a quest that affects those notes in Andy's terminal and also affects Andy's attitude towards you, which is initially rather blunt. The next quest is the Replicated Man. This is the Android quest we found notes for. Information can be gathered here in Megaton, but from memory you can skip all that and just find it elsewhere. Megaton isn't required for this quest. Next up is an unmarked quest called Treatment. Walter at the water treatment facility doesn't have time to fix leaks that have sprung up. You can find multiple spots in Megaton with water shooting out of a pipe. Fix all 3 for him and Walter will give you a reward. You need 30 repair skill to fix them, by the way. The next unmarked quest is for Walter as well and requires you to have done that previous one. After you've done so, Walter will offer to buy any scrap metal off you for 10 caps each. You can refuse the payment and get 10 good karma instead for each. Next up is Wastelander Water Request. This is an unmarked quest that activates after Holy Water is completed. Some Megaton settlers will try to raid an Aqua Pura caravan guarded by the Brotherhood of Steel. You can do a speech check to ensure it doesn't come to violence. If not, both Deputy Wield and the gate guard can perish in the ensuing fight. Second to last we have is one of my favourites. This is Wasteland Survival Guide. This is helping Moira Brown out as a test subject. The quest has 3 stages and each stage has 3 objectives in each. They include things like getting irradiated so she can observe the results. Each quest has a secondary objective too. So for instance, the irradiation one requires you to get poisoned with 200 rads, but you get a bonus for being poisoned with 600 rads. Another great one is a mole rat repellent stick, which actually makes their heads explode. The Power of the Atom is the last quest, but a big one. This is where you can make the decision about the bomb in the center of town. Mr. Burke wants you to arm the bomb. Doing so allows you to watch the explosion from Tenpenny Tower, Alistair Tenpenny being the rich toff that Mr. Burke works for. Nicely, you do get an apartment in Tenpenny Tower as you lose the Megaton home. It has the same theming and same upgrade options as the Megaton home. You don't buy the upgrades from Moira Brown like you do in Megaton, you buy it from someone else in Tenpenny Tower. You do get a very copy and pasted robot butler as well. So the decision truly just comes down to if you want to be good or evil. If you disarm the bomb for Lucas Sims, he'll congratulate you and reward you with the Megaton home for your work. Either option actually sees you hunted by certain groups. If you blow it up, regulators will hunt you for your evil deeds, and it's possible to run into angry mobs of former Megaton citizens. If you disarm it, the Talon Company will have an extermination contract out on you. I don't have it written down, but from memory it's implied that Alistair Tenpenny is the one that puts out the contract hit on you. If you're interested in watching the Megaton explosion, I did actually do it in my Begin Again mod pack Let's Play on my main gaming channel, Sanguine Red Games. But that's all for the quests, so next up is notable loot. There are several schematics that can be attained from Moira, either purchasing or as rewards for the quest you do for her. There is a strength bobblehead, and that's in Lucas Sims' house on the ground floor. You have to sneak in and steal it. Last, there are 3 skill books. There's Grognak the Barbarian, which is in Jericho's house on the floor between the teddy bear and a red pylon along the right wall. There's Nikola Tesla and You. It's in your Megaton house once you buy the scientist theme from Moira Brown. And the last is Lying Congress Style, which you get in the Megaton house again, but you need to buy the Love Machine theme. But that's it for the notable loot. Last up is the sort of notes and fun facts and all that sort of stuff for Megaton. Firstly, that exploding Megaton is one of the things that your Liam Neeson dad will comment on when you're working on Project Purity with him after you've rescued him. He'll be happy if you helped them out and very disappointed if you blew it up. Like, genuinely pretty horrified that you did that because it is a truly evil thing to do. It's one of the things that genuinely makes being an evil character very hard. It's the disappointment in Liam Neeson's voice when he finds out you did this. Next up is that both Jericho, the potential companion, and Nathan, the husband of Manya that lives in the Blue Bus house, are both described as being 65 in the official Fallout 3 guide Wasteland census. However, Nathan is white-bearded and wrinkled and very old-looking, very much looking his age, while Jericho looks actually much younger, perhaps in his late 40s. It almost feels like kind of a mistake, honestly. This is my own personal opinion, by the way. This isn't official notes anywhere or anything like that. I just looked at the both and saw, wow, they're both the same age, yet Jericho has still got like a black beard and looks like he's, perhaps a bit sun-damaged, a bit, old for his age almost, but he still looks like, late 40s. But anyway, next up is that if you're in Megaton and you have very good karma, a Megaton settler will approach you each day, and after around 8 AM apparently, they will provide you with a random item of loot. With a very bad karma, the same settler will approach you but only say insults. You actually get this in Fallout New Vegas with the King's people. Once you've helped out there and you have a good reputation in that zone, one of the Kings will walk up and be like, hey, you've been helping the people around here. Here, take a squirrel bits or something. It's a lovely extra touch that really helps you feel connected to the world and makes it feel like your actions have some form of consequence and meaning. As we talked about before, wearing the Vault 101 jumpsuit when around Megaton will see a lot of named settlers comment on it during your first meeting. Apparently this special greeting doesn't occur, however, if you're wearing the Vault Security, Utility jumpsuit, or Vault Scientist coat. So it's just the basic jumpsuit they comment on, no other ones. Which explains why I've probably never witnessed it, and mayhaps many of you, because normally I at the very least get the Vault Security outfit on. But yes, next up is that a tabletop miniature warfare board game called Fallout Wasteland Warfare actually confirms that it was the plane itself crashing into the center of the area that caused the crater, not a bomb that dropped that didn't explode, as I have always assumed actually. That was a rather curious note to find out, I will say. Next up is that if you kill Billy Creel and have the Contract Killer perk, which allows you to take the ear of any good quotation marks character and sell it, he will drop one. confirming he is considered a good guy. Therefore, you can probably assume the rumours about him killing to gain his house are most likely untrue. I don't know about you, but if there was some sort of miracle, omnipresent karma system and someone had killed to gain entry to a house, I highly doubt that the karma system would consider them good. Again, that note is an observation of mine and not an official note you can find anywhere. I just personally think that confirms that he is a good guy. But next up is, if Colin Moriarty, the owner of Moriarty's Saloon, is killed, Nova will retire from her escort work so you can no longer hire her. This also disables the ability to rent the bed, and apparently Gob also takes over the saloon once Moriarty is gone. Gob, you can easily imagine, is a much nicer proprietor of the saloon. This very much confirms that Moriarty was keeping Nova in her place as an escort against almost her will, as it were. And sadly that she most likely had no other options other than to stay in this job. She is also noted as having a jet addiction, which I assume Moriarty took advantage of. Again, no tears will be shed if that bastard is dead. Another note is that there is one named character that only slightly got mentioned in Moriarty's notes, but that's it. And his name is Stockholm. He is the gate guard that hangs out in an inaccessible area. 2 instances of him exist, as he needs to be atop the inside and exterior cell outside of Megaton. You can use the console command TCL to get to him, or by climbing the wall from Lucas Sims' house atop it. You can target him with VATS and apparently get up to him somehow, but I imagine that involves attacking him to do it, I guess. I haven't ever really seen a glitch like that myself. You can actually talk to Stockholm as well, despite the fact that you shouldn't actually even be able to get to him. He says only one thing. He firstly tells you to stop bothering him as he's looking out for raiders, then he questions how the hell did you even get up here? I did check and both versions of him say the same thing, by the way. I assume his name is also a bit of a joke, being Stockholm, the Stockholm Syndrome as it were. But yes, that is pretty much it for Megaton. However, I always like to finish with my final personal thoughts. I very much love that your actions have an effect on the brass lantern entries, something that you don't often see in games, like I mentioned before. I can't think of an eventuality that ever really happens, even like Fallout 4, where you'd think it'd be fancier and they'd be bigger and better or what have you. Even in New Vegas, I don't personally remember really anything like that happening, I will say. I do really like Megaton. It's a very busy feeling area. It's very unique, very iconic, I feel like. If you have explored there, you'd probably know what I mean. It's very unique and looks different, and it's really fits the vibe of the world. And that's something I really like, that area of like, this is a real safe area, because people would want to feel safe. It's one of my gripes I personally have with some of these games, where a lot of the areas don't feel safe and secure enough. Like, these people are living in these areas potentially for tens of years or what have you, and they haven't fixed most gaps in the walls. It's confusing. Or there's massive gaps that something or someone could crawl through. I personally dislike that. So when I'm building in, Fallout 4 or what have you, I absolutely love trying to make it as secure as possible. The area is a little bit basic in the regards. It's very tutorial, as it were. Very basic small quests, local little problems, which isn't actually bad. It's a great way to start out, like fixing the pipes or something, letting you know that, hey, there's little quests like this that people might have. But helping out Moira is a very fun and involved quest, and I really enjoy it. It's one of my more favourite quest lines, I will say, and Moira, of course, is an absolutely fun and fine lass, so it's always great with her. She's very quirky and has a lot of fun lines. She has that real perky, like, oh boy, gosh golly. And she's like, oh, we've got to get out there and do some science. Oh, you're rather irradiated. Oh, look at the notes. Oh, yes, your skin is falling off and everything. Oh, very nice. Now let's treat you. She's not evil at all, but she has this sort of almost lackadaisical care about your personal health that some people like her kind of have a little bit. But it's very good, obvious karma choices with a bomb, and fortunately you do get the backup at Tenpenny Tower. You don't miss out on anything. It simply comes down to the choice, do you do this or don't you do this? It's perhaps not the most subtle way to teach the karma system, but it is effective, I guess. I do quite like the diverse amount of people here. It's a great base of operations. Megaton's a real great hotspot for you to come back to. It's more at the centre of the map as well. So it's a little bit different to a lot of the other games like Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4. Fallout New Vegas, you start sort of in the mid-left sort of bottom half, and then you're kind of really heavily forced a certain way. It's a lot more, not linear, but relatively linear. And in Fallout 4, you start in the top left corner. This one, you start rather central, which is great. I personally prefer that, and would prefer if they, made future ones a bit more like that. But understand gameplay-wise and mechanics-wise and environmental storytelling-wise why you are sort of more in the corners or what have you. It gives you a sort of more branching direction. It makes you feel like you've travelled further. Whereas in, Fallout 3, you probably don't quite feel like you've travelled quite as far because you're sort of at the epicenter and breaching out and what have you. But yes, it's a real showcase of what to expect in the form of quests, both minor and major, as well as the wastelands, the people of the wasteland, as it were. Megaton is a really good place to sort of sink your teeth into the game and its mechanics as well, and a rather low-risk area to begin with. It teaches you quite a lot about the world and how the game works and all that good stuff as well, so it's a pretty handy place to go to first, and of course the main storyline sends you there first. But yes, not too bad and not too shabby indeed. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums it all up, I think I will say. So that is it for now. So thank you very much for listening. I'd love to thank the Independent Fallout Wiki as always. They're a great, fantastic source of information and cross-referencing that I use when I'm, exploring the areas, because I do explore the areas myself fully. Then I just sort of go there and check to make sure I didn't miss anything major or what have you, or look for the notes and all that sort of stuff. And also, of course, people have transcribed all the journal entries and all the computer terminal entries, which is really handy so I don't have to type it out manually myself. But yes, thank you very much to them, and thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. It really does help a small little, channel like me out, as it were, here on YouTube. But yes, thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.